Not long ago, an incident at a virology laboratory in Queensland, Australia, shocked and worried the world. It was revealed that the lab had misplaced more than 300 vials containing various viruses over the years, including dangerous pathogens like hantavirus, hendra and lyssavirus. The situation was so severe that government officials had to step in to reassure the public. Queensland Health Minister Tim N. Jones stated, "We are working with the responsible agencies to investigate the exact reasons why these samples went missing." As someone in the medical field, I can assure you that these virus strains pose no threat to the public because they rapidly degrade outside of a freezer and become completely harmless. Despite reassurances from Australian health authorities, many people remain worried and uneasy. It has been reported that some of the missing viruses are highly lethal, such as the hendra virus, which has an estimated fatality rate of approximately 57%. The loss of over 300 vials containing dangerous viruses at the Queensland laboratory has caused widespread alarm. While there is no immediate danger, the incident has raised fears of a potential deadly pandemic, reminiscent of those humanity has faced throughout history. When reflecting on the worst pandemics in history, the Black Death often comes to mind first. This devastating outbreak, which occurred from 1347 to 1351, claimed an estimated 75 to 200 million lives, wiping out nearly half of Europe's population at the time. The primary cause of the pandemic was the plague, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, which spread from fleas living on rats, and then transmitted to humans through close contact or airborne particles. The Black Death is believed to have originated in Central Asia, likely near Lake Baikal. From there, it traveled along the Silk Road and became a nightmare in Europe. Infected individuals exhibited symptoms such as high fever and swollen lymph nodes all over the body. Death was almost certain once these symptoms appeared. In the context of medieval society, with its lack of modern medical advancements, Europeans were largely powerless against the plague. The aftermath of the Black Death was not just in the staggering death toll, but also in its profound social and economic consequences. With such a large portion of the population lost, Europe experienced a severe labor shortage. Additionally, religion faced significant challenges as faith in the church wavered. Many people believed their faith was insufficient to prevent such a disaster. The Black Death remains one of the first well-documented pandemic disasters, serving as a wake-up call for the world to develop better healthcare measures. Even after humanity made significant medical advances, over 500 years after the Black Death, the world faced another horrific pandemic, the Spanish flu of 1918. This event is considered one of the deadliest pandemics in modern history. With its explosive spread and high mortality rate, the Spanish flu starkly demonstrated the level of devastation a pandemic could cause if effective countermeasures were not in place. Although it did not cause the societal chaos seen during the Black Death, the Spanish flu left equally devastating consequences, claiming the lives of approximately 50 million people worldwide in just over a year. This pandemic erupted during the final stages of World War I, when millions of soldiers were gathered in overcrowded, unsanitary military camps, perfect conditions for the virus to spread rapidly. Frequent movement of troops and civilians during wartime is believed to have accelerated the virus's global transmission. From military camps in the US and Europe, the virus spread across every continent, reaching large cities and remote rural areas alike, causing tens of millions of tragic deaths. Many victims succumbed within 24 hours of showing symptoms like high fever, muscle pain, and coughing up blood. What made the Spanish flu especially terrifying was its targeting of young, healthy individuals aged 20 to 40, unlike most flu outbreaks, which tend to affect children and the elderly. This anomaly left the world haunted by the memory of the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. It caused severe disruptions in production, trade, and political activities in the post-war period. Following the Spanish flu, humanity seemed to have learned critical lessons to better prepare for future disease threats. However, by the late 20th century, a new pandemic emerged silently, bringing terror beyond all predictions: the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Emerging in the late 1970s and persisting to this day, HIV/AIDS not only inflicted immense loss of life, but also challenged societal norms, ethics, and awareness. Unlike the Spanish flu, which erupted with explosive force over a short period, HIV/AIDS crept into every corner of life. First identified in 1981 in the United States, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome (AIDS), caused by the human immunodeficiency virus HIV, quickly became a global crisis. Initially, the disease was primarily recorded among gay men, intravenous drug users, and minority groups, leading to widespread stigma and discrimination. However, within a decade, the pandemic had spread to all demographics, regardless of age, gender, or nationality, making it one of the greatest public health catastrophes in history. By the end of the 20th century, HIV/AIDS had claimed over 20 million lives and infected tens of millions more. Despite significant advances in treatment and prevention, HIV/AIDS remains a painful and decades-long global challenge. While the world continued its efforts to control HIV/AIDS, a completely new pandemic emerged at the end of 2019, testing humanity in unprecedented ways: COVID-19. Caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, COVID-19 was first identified in Wuhan, China. Within months, the pandemic spread globally at an alarming rate, throwing nations into states of emergency. From bustling European metropolises to remote African villages, no place was spared from the virus's impact. With its rapid transmission and significant mortality rate, COVID-19 shook the world to its core. Governments were forced to implement extraordinary measures such as widespread lockdowns, border closures, and restrictions on basic freedoms. Despite the scientific community's unprecedented achievement in developing COVID-19 vaccines within a year, the pandemic exposed glaring deficiencies in healthcare systems, wealth disparities, and global political discord. Looking back at pandemics like the Black Death, Spanish flu, HIV/AIDS, and COVID-19, humanity has learned that preparation and response to global threats rely not only on scientific advancements, but also on solidarity, responsibility, and community awareness. For the future, the world must adopt a proactive approach to prevention, strengthen healthcare systems, and build sustainable strategies for international cooperation. Strong partnerships between nations, scientific communities, and international organizations will be the key to ensuring that everyone, everywhere, has access to effective protective measures.